Alright, so as I was thinking about what to present on, there was a lot of different things I came across, and then I read Olin Hitt's rubric, final assignment, online, and it said a lot about relationships, how we relate to the world, how we relate to the environment. So I started thinking about relationships in my own life, and definitely the ones that have impacted me the most are my mom and my dad. My mother in a really great way, positive way, my father in a really negative way. But I think that what I took away from my dad is that it really motivated me and inspired me to figure it out for myself so that I can be the best parent, best husband I can be. So my name is Jeff Foreman. I chose to do wisdom on parenting. So we'll start off with my thesis. Parenting wisely consists of a mindful, empathetic approach that understands the balance between grace and discipline and leads by example with support, love, and encouragement. The first point we got here, are you ready to be a parent? Being a parent is tough because there is no way to practice until it is time to be one. I think one of the biggest things about being a parent is just preparing to be. You got to get your wisdom and your knowledge from somewhere. Since there's no way to practice being a parent until you have to be one, it's kind of like you're just thrown right into the mix. And we don't really have the answers. It's like asking somebody to go play baseball and hit a 100-mile-an-hour fastball that's never stepped up to the plate. So I mean, you kind of really got to dive in and do this for yourself, because ultimately you're about to be responsible for another human life. From Deuteronomy 6:7, and these words that I command you today shall be on your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise. I think that the most important part of this verse for parents is the very first part. And these words that I command you today shall be on your heart. A lot of parents nowadays think that as soon as they're a parent, they're given this authority that like now they're all knowing. All of a sudden they have all the answers just because they're responsible for someone who doesn't. But in the beginning, and these words that I command you today shall be on your heart. It doesn't say the words that are on your heart you should pass to your children, but the words that I have commanded, meaning the Lord. We have to get our wisdom from somewhere, and we can't pass that wisdom on to our children until we've been taught ourselves. How can you teach if you've yet to be taught? That's kind of my whole thing. The sign of great parenting is not the child's behavior. The sign of truly great parenting is the parent's behavior. I think that says a lot right there as far as figuring out for yourself before you're able to give this wisdom to someone else. Are you ready to be a parent? Continued? Apparently not. Parents are humans that have been given great responsibility for the life of another human. That right there makes me fearfully interested. I'm definitely interested in figuring out this whole parenting thing, being in charge of a whole other human, being responsible for molding someone's character, their faith, shaping their personality. It is evident that we as humans struggle to take on even our own responsibilities, let alone another person's. As parents on earth, we are still children of God. That's what I believe. I think that's really cool because as a parent, we've been granted authority to teach, but if you still see yourself as a child of God, there's always room to still learn. So I mean, even though you're responsible for raising someone else, you can still grow and learn as yourself. And I think it's cool also because you can actually learn from your children. There's a give and take relationship there. Sometimes I think my dad can learn a lot from me, but I'll not go there. While we try to teach our children all about life, our children teach us what life is all about. I think that's a pretty cool quote. Moving on to the next topic here, discipline. It's a big ordeal in the whole parent-child relationship. Discipline and reinforcement needed in order to teach children right from wrong. We discipline children because they can put a negative consequence and associate it with a negative action. That way they can break old habits and make room for new ones, good ones. From Proverbs 22:15, folly is bound up in the heart of a child, but the rod of discipline will drive it far away. Biblically speaking, the Lord talks about those who love their children will discipline them. It's for the better. Frederick Douglass, it is easier to build strong children than to repair a broken man. I think that's so cool. If we as parents don't build up our children now, the world is going to do it in a much worse way. It's going to be not as forgiving. Biggest thing of discipline, though, to me is doing it out of love. The intentions of discipline are really big. Fathers, do not provoke your children lest they become discouraged. You're not out here to enrage your kids. You're not out there to show, in my next quote here you'll see, you're not out to show them who's boss. Discipline without reason can leave a child confused. If love is the true motivation for discipline, then the ultimate goal is to show them we care about their learning experience, not to show them who's boss. That's just kind of my own thoughts that I took out of my paper that I wrote. Again, it's all about the learning experience. Loving them, showing them we care about their future and that they need to grow up and figure this out. But we're ultimately the ones that are going to kind of push them in the right direction. Hebrews 12:11, obviously discipline's not easy. No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. I think that's cool as well, just because later on in life you will greatly appreciate your parents. I mean, who would have ever thought that a backside whooping would have made you grateful, but it's definitely true. I think the harder that like my stepfather was on me, the further it drove me away. But now that I get older, I think our relationship thrives because of it. The other thing, graceful discipline, it's kind of ironic, but I think that in discipline, the greatest time to teach grace is right there. When you're given a punishment, when you're giving that reinforcement about what not to do, it's a perfect time to also say, look, you're forgiven, you're human, we make mistakes, but let's move forward. Where are we going now? Graceful discipline. My next topic, my last topic, encouragement and support, presence. I think it's very important. Kids get their confidence from us. They learn a lot from us. They watch us. I mean, I can't say us. I'm not a parent yet. But speaking as a parent, one way to encourage children is by teaching and showing them what is right from wrong, and then actually letting them make their own decisions. Letting them make their own decisions while you're right there with them. That's big. That's encouraging to them. Gives them a vote of confidence. It allows them to be themselves in this crazy world. Ann Landry, she wrote an article on 5 mistakes that moms make. She said, it is not what you do for your children, but what you have taught them to do for themselves that will make them successful human beings. And I think that just goes into the end with the last one there, like letting kids make their decisions, giving them the confidence to do it, and then just being the support for them. Encourage and support your kids because children are apt to live up to what you believe of them. I think that's pretty cool. It's like riding a bike. So along this way, you're going to let the child steer the bike, you're going to let them pedal, they're going to be the one engaging in the experience, but the whole time you're right there, making sure they're balanced, making sure that they're not going to fall over. It's kind of how it can work in every situation, every aspect that they go through. This is a big one for me too, being present. A father must always be present, but being present is not the same as controlling. Fathers who seek to control end up stifling their children. They do not let them grow up. That's Pope Francis, the Catholic Church. Being present is again, being there, supporting them, encouraging them, but letting them do their thing. Controlling, not so great. It's all about the here and now. This is also what I took from my own thoughts and put into my paper. The parent controls the child's actions and decisions. Are those actions and decisions actually from the heart of the child, or are they from the demands of the parent? Making the wrong decisions is a part of growing up as a child, but a present parent is there to guide them back to the righteous path. I just think it's important to let kids kind of figure it out their own. You know, every bird leaves the nest at one point and comes back. So, to conclude, support, encourage, inspire. I think it's huge. We don't realize how much a child looks up to you. Sometimes I wish that my dad realized what an impact he had on my life. That way he could be a little more present for us to kind of figure it out. Discipline out of love through grace. That's huge. With the right intentions, you'll understand that discipline is for it's a good cause. It's what needs to be done. Be present, be around. The best thing you can do is just be there, honestly. I think that's self-explanatory. Seek wisdom. That one's my biggest, though. I think that you have to fill yourself with the wisdom. You have to fill yourself with the truth. You have to seek truth. If you don't know the truth, if you don't know wisdom, you're going to give your child just a bunch of empty guesses, some opinions. So, filling your cup before you go to fill up your kids. I think that's big. And just one more quote here. Don't worry, the children never listen to you. worry that they're always watching you. I know I keep coming back to my dad, but he's a talker, and I tell him all the time, all I observe is that you just are constantly explaining yourself. And I interpret the way things go, but I hear it a different way. So when teaching your kids, lead by example. Show them who you want them to be. Don't tell them. I think there's a time to tell them, but I think showing them is what will really impact their life. That's it.